right. Hello, everyone. So all this week, little gifts began popping into my inbox, and they were short videos of our confirmation class 8th graders reflecting on their Bible passages. They were each given a project to think about and reflect on 10 verses of scripture throughout this spring as their final project for confirmation. And the verses the kids chose to recite, they range from gospel parables to Deuteronomic commandments to apostolic advice. Some of the kids read their passages slowly. Others whipped right on through. One couldn't help but giggle a little bit and give a huge whoop when he was done. Another breathed passion and anger into the voice of the character of the older son. One kid chose his passage because it was his grandmother's favorite. Another because it reminded him of his passion for building. This verse urged her to be kind. This one prompted him to stick to his convictions. One of the kids heard in the image of the fortified tower of Proverbs 18, if we have faith, we will always know God's going to be there to help us when we need him most. Yet another found Aaron and Miriam's doubt in God to be relatable to my position of faith. Here in the scripture was God's celebration of this teenager's close relationship with her family in the time of quarantine. And there, God's response to the exclusion and alienation of this student's classmates. Sometimes in situations, I don't know what to do, said another. And so sometimes I think about what God would want me to do, or what the church would want me to do. And that really helps me to think about what the right choice would be. If our kids learned one thing from confirmation class this year, I'd want it to be this. There is no one right way to be Christian. Our faith is about relationship, not about following specific steps to fulfillment. And as each of their varied videos and voices kept making clear to me all week, every relationship is different, one person to the next, and every relationship will grow and change over the course of their lives. No one can tell them what that will look like, and no one should pretend they can. We only ever see glimpses of one another's unique relationship with God. But man, are those glimpses precious, empowering, holy. Tonight is our last confirmation class this year. Like a lot of things right now, it's not ending the way I would have chosen. But as is the way with life, this ending is a beginning, the start of these kids' journeys as mature adult Christians. Today's passage from the Gospel of John reminds us that even the season of Easter is both a beginning and an end, grief and joy. Philip's question to Jesus here on the last night of Jesus's life is full of pain. What will they do without Jesus as they have known him? A companion, leader, and guide. How will they know the way? Jesus is resurrected on Easter, yes, but we still face saying goodbye again as at his ascension. We're still left behind in this world, stumbling around, trying to find a way forward. I can't fault Philip for longing for a clear, step-by-step path to salvation, especially in these days when we cannot even rely on our most familiar patterns and routines. Even when we think we know how to go live on Facebook, on Zoom, it all falls apart. In this uncertainty, I've been holding our graduates in my heart these days. Not just our confirmation kids graduating out of middle school, but our high school seniors and our college seniors and their parents. In a normal year, this month and a half are a bittersweet Easter moment of goodbye, celebration and joy in the victory of perseverance and love. grief and uncertainty in the crossing of a highly anticipated threshold. But this year, the threshold markers are gone. Proms and graduations and mortarboard tosses wiped away, just like so many weddings, funerals, events. Job interviews are being canceled left and right. And there's this huge question mark where visions of college campuses in the fall used to be. Acute as this sense of uncertainty is for these kids and their parents, it's permeated all aspects of all our lives. Our parishes still don't fully know what church will look like when we come together again, masks on and 6 feet apart. So Philip asks, we do not know where you are going, where we are going. How will we know the way? When Jesus replies, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and when he says, no one comes to the Father except through me, it can be easy to hear it as an exclusive or prescriptive course of salvation. There's only one kind of way attitude. But I think that's because that's what we've come to expect, or maybe even crave from charismatic leaders, lifestyle movements, TED Talk speakers, religion in general. Here's a step-by-step guide. Here's the one correct solution to life. But in proclaiming the way is relationship with him, Jesus is offering us something else entirely. He's refusing to give all the disciples one single map and instead opens up a whole world. Love. Know me. Get close to me, Jesus says. There is such beautiful variance in what our particular relationship to God looks like from chapter to chapter of our lives. There are whole libraries of books on books about what relationship to Jesus feels like for one person or another. Where I am going, Jesus says, there are many, many dwelling places. There is one prepared just for you. As a preacher, I know that I often focus on community, the importance of gathering and being with. But this passage and this time in our community life, it's been bringing to the forefront the deep significance of our own individual spiritual journeys, our personal relationships with Christ, and how they change and grow. Every one of you I've been lucky enough to connect with these past few weeks has had a different story to tell. Some families are overwhelmed with too much to do. Others are craving more creative activities to fill their kids' afternoons. I've heard from many of you who are savoring a new pattern of tuning in for morning prayer, and others who struggle to connect with online worship. Some of us are grateful for extra time with family. Others are being driven up the wall, and a whole bunch of us are both. The beauty of our faith is that we are called to turn away from the fantasy of one-size-fits-all solutions to life and faith. If even Jesus won't tell us, how dare we tell each other? You already know the way, Jesus says. Our kids already know the way. We already know the way. Come close to me, says Jesus, and you come close to God. Amen.